Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Daily Motion. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Sunday, February 1st, 2015, around 8:13 p.m. in Milwaukee, Massachusetts. And it's about 20 degrees, and it's clouding over 12 to 16 inches of snow in some parts of the Bay State tomorrow. Some news to report. It's halftime at Super Bowl 49. The Patriots and the Seahawks are tied 14-14. And also sad news to report in the world of kids entertainment programming. Ricardo Molina Jr., an actor who was played one of the Power Rangers, passed away at the age of 36. He was stabbed to death. That's very sad. And that's also National Croissant Day in the United States. And also, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says he's considering expanding the NBA All-Star rosters to include 15 players. That's about it on that. My third and final video blog subject of the night, Personality Profile. Personality Profile tonight is about one of America's most funniest comedians. He's also an actor, a TV host, and the current host of Family Feud, Mr. Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey has been entertaining audiences for over 20 years, and he's one of the greatest comedians of all time. Steve's real name is Broderick Stephen Harvey. He was born in West Virginia, and he grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and he went to college at Kent State University and West Virginia University, and before he made it big as a comedian, Steve worked odd jobs as a mailman, and he also worked as a carpet cleaner. He sold insurance. He was a boxer. And Steve started to do stand-up comedian stuff in 1985. And Steve, for many years, didn't have a home, so he was homeless. So he lived out of a car, and he had a shower at a gas station or public swimming pools if he did not stay at a hotel, which the city he was performing in. And that was very hard on Steve, but eventually he got a big break in 1990 when he was a finalist for the second annual Johnny Walker National Comedy Search. And that led to him hosting the syndicated programming at Showtime at the Apollo for many, many years. Steve had started the 1994 sitcom Me and the Boys on ABC, which lasted a few episodes. And in 1996, Steve starred in his own sitcom called The Steve Harvey Show, which lasted 7 years on the WB. It was a great sitcom, but it did not get the ratings for WB, but it stayed on the air a long time. That was a great show. And also, Steve continued his act, doing a stand-up act all across the United States and stuff. He teamed with 4 comedians, DJ Hutley and Cedric the Entertainer and Bernie Mac, and they were called the Kings of Comedy, and they toured all around the world for a few years. In fact, they came out with a DVD about some of their performances called The King of Comedy and stuff like that. After the Steve Harvey sitcom was canceled by the WB in 2002, Steve hosted a variety show on the WB, which lasted 2 seasons, called Steve Harvey Variety Show. Variety shows are non-existent in today's television market because they don't get the ratings. Variety shows is comedy, talk, music, juggling, and stuff like that. They were big in the 50s through the 70s, but they're not big right now. And also, Steve wrote a best-selling book, which was called Think Like a Man, Act Like a Woman, which was a bestseller book, and it turned into a movie in 2010. Steve Harvey now started to host a morning radio show, which was syndicated across the country beginning in 2005, and that syndicated radio show is still on the air today. It's never appeared in Boston, but it's a very funny show. Since 2010, Steve Harvey hosted the syndicated game show Family Feud. Family Feud was on syndication for about 11 years before Steve Harvey took the show's reins, and the ratings for Family Feud, the last 4 seasons before Steve Harvey, when it was hosted by John O'Hurley, were barely getting renewed every single year. A lot of people said the Family Feud was on its last legs when Steve Harvey took it over. But Steve Harvey's, when he hosted it, the ratings went through the roof because he's a very funny host and stuff. He loves to play along and stuff like that. And many of the questions now on Family Feud are kind of sexually suggestive or outrageous. But Steve's very, very funny. He's probably a very funny host, and he saved Family Feud from being completely taken off the air for good. And today it's still on the air, on syndication, and in so many cable networks like GSN and BET and TV Land, along with syndication, which is pretty good. They only film about 35 tapings of Family Feud each year, so Steve Harvey could go do other stuff. In 2012, Steve Harvey hosted his own talk show, daytime talk show, The Steve Harvey Show, which is a very popular talk show. Steve's very good hosting a talk show. Many issues are about dating and this and that, and it's been on the air for 3 years, and it's one of the top rated daytime talk shows in the land. It even beat out the Katie Couric Show in 2012. Katie Couric Show is no longer on the air. The Steve Harvey Show's still on the air, and Steve Harvey retired from doing stand-up comedian after his talk show host continued. And Steve Harvey has his own dating website. He still hosts Family Feud. He's in so many commercials. He's a very successful story, Steve Harvey. He's so funny, in my opinion. He's one of the greatest comedians around today. He's a game show host. He brought new life to Family Feud. They're the second highest rated syndicated television game show, and in fact second highest rated syndicated show in the country, and his talk show's going pretty strong, and he's a success story after battling through homelessness for several years before making it big. And that's a true success story. I love true success stories. That's about it on Steve Harvey. I will be back, Facebook friends, YouTube followers, Daily Motion, and Twitter, with 3 more video blogs tomorrow. First one will be about the top 10 players in California Angels, Anaheim Angels, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim's history, players, and then the second will be about the Dallas Cowboys dynasty of the 1990s, and the third and final video blog of the night will be about former WWE superstar, The Godfather. Come get on the whole train. If you don't like this, the pimping ain't easy. And don't forget, coming soon to these video blogs will be about the top 10 players, top 10 pitches in Angels history, the top 10 greatest sit-down Borica, Massachusetts restaurants of all time, past and present, top 10 greatest stockade matches of all time, and more video blogs about famous African American people this month in honor of Black History Month. Kevin Garnett, James Brown from CBS Sports, The Bodyguard Virgil, Barry Bonds, Lawrence Taylor, Oscar Robinson, Grant Fuhrer, Akeem Olajuwon, Willie Mays, Teddy Long, Bill Russell, Frank Robinson, Jim Rice, Andre Tippett, Doc Rivers, the Dr. Sile Slick, Lee Smith, D'Lo Brown, Dennis Green, and Patrick Ewing profiles will be in this month, and sooner or later, Julie Broughton and Heidi Pratt video blogs. 2 cute blondes with nice legs. See you tomorrow, friends. Bye now.